Okay, I'm doing this video for myself, but I imagine it'll help some folks. If I, it's for this Lekato. I forgot they call it a baby something. Uh, um, acoustic guitar effects. And if you have a preamp in your guitar, then you can go straight to this thing, meaning your acoustic guitar has a battery and you have a volume and maybe a treble and bass or EQ settings, then you can go straight into this. Uh, I am going first into a preamp, and why am I doing that? And this is a good little preamp. It's an acoustic ADI 21. They're inexpensive, and it's powered by a 9-volt plug there. And I'm using that because I am using an under the saddle pickup coming out of the, okay, it's coming out of the strap. There we are. You can see it down there. If I can just get this, you can see it under the, yeah, it's coming out of the strap button. And this is just a Martin. Now you see I have a sound hole pickup as well. That's a wireless one. It's really cool, but I'm not going to use it for this video. I want to see what I can do with this effects, this Lekato effects pedal. That's just the standard Martin D28 HD D28, that is. Okay, so I have a preamp, and the preamp is good, or this particular preamp is good because it's got the XLR. It works as your direct box. And I'm also going to experiment with putting it after the Lekato because, you'd probably want to use the Lekato for your effects. And using this before, your sound man is going to be not going to get any of your effects. But for this demonstration, I've got it before. Okay. And okay, so this Lekato, I've got it, the ins and outs plugged in. I've been plugging into a Bose amplifier there, and sort of a PA amplifier. And I'm going to plug it in because it's got a battery in it, a rechargeable. So it'll when it's fully charged, it'll go 6 hours, they say. And I haven't had it long enough to tell you whether that's true. So I'm plugging it in. You see the red go on there. What happens next? Well, you've got to turn it on, and it goes through a cycle there of the lights, and then this annoying light goes on. That's your Bluetooth pairing. If you want to turn that off, just hold these babies down and it turns off. Those two turns off the Bluetooth blinking. Okay, and it's in right now. It defaults to preset. And there are 3 presets. Guess how you get them? We're in the first preset. It defaults to that one. If you want your second preset, it's there. If you want your third preset, it's there. If you don't want to be in preset mode at all, you hold these 2 down, and now you're no longer in preset mode. But if you want to be able to control any of these, you'll need to hit that one of these guys, and once you start turning the other ones, they'll come alive. Oh, that's right. I'd have to turn this. I'd have to hit this, and now I would get these guys coming alive, and they will be active. You are now in a mode where you can play these things. You can turn these things, and then here's cab and different cab settings. Very nice when you're going into a PA to have those different cabinet settings. I'm going to turn that off because I don't want it in this preset that I'm going to do. Now, let me turn them all off. Okay, so I want to go back to preset mode. It says here, live and preset. If you press these once, it'll bring you back to preset mode, and we're back on this preset. If I go to this preset, you see some different lights. See the difference there. If I go to this last preset, we'll see some different things lit up. It looks like this last preset has been set up strictly for the EQ, meaning bass, mid, treble, and the anti-feedback are all lit up there. I can go ahead and turn these all I want. They're not going to do a thing because, and there's the volume as well, by the way. I can turn them all I want. They're not going to do a thing because it's in a preset mode. If I'm in a place, if I don't like the way the preset that I did at home, you know, that's the trick with these things. You set up your presets perfect at home, but you get into another room and it's another story altogether. So you have to give it one of these and then hit that guy again. And now this is active. These guys are now will pay attention to what you do. And again, if you want the time space, then you better hit that. And then these guys will do what you want them to do. Okay, back out. I want to get back into preset mode. Get back to the preset here. Okay, so that's my preset. Let's suppose I want to get rid of time and space. I'm going to enter, I'm going to edit the preset by holding these two down, or clicking those two. That allows me to edit. Certain things are blinking, certain things are not. I'm not worried about that. I want to get rid of time and space. I can do it quickly by just doing this, or I can turn space dead center, I think. Yeah, there it is. Where'd it go? It's got a notch in dead center. I can do it that way. I'm having trouble with that, so I'm just going to hit this. And that turns off time and space. Notice time and space aren't part of this preset anymore. This was the second preset I wanted it at the, did I say second preset? So I'm going to hold down the second preset button because that's where I want to save this one. I haven't adjusted anything else because I liked it the way it was. I just didn't want the reverb or there we go. So that means I'm in 2, and to get out of editing, I'm going to hit these two. And whoa. Oh, and notice, oh no, these came back on. Well, that's because I'm in the third preset. The second preset is the one that turned these guys off. And so that's the preset. Again, if I want to just go to live, I'll hit these, and now all these buttons, well, if I turn this on, it'll allow me to all these will be live. Unless now let's get this back on. There it is. See, now it turns off for me when I put it in 12 o'clock. But I can now pull it up and play those live. The effects are quite nice. I'll give a sample when I get the presets the way I want them. I'll do that right here at the end. Okay, I've got my guitar out of tune. To set this thing to tune, hold for tuner. You hold these two guys. And it cycles through. I've got my guitar out of tune right now. And it's when I hit the high E, look at all these things blinking. It's trying to decide what am I doing. These three, you'll see the arrows on the top, and then once I get this middle one to light up, that means I'm in tune. Yeah, it has nothing to do with turning that knob. It's just the lights on top. And then E, A, D, G, B, E. So this is strictly good for tuning a 6-string guitar. I did try to tune a 12-string, and it could do only the lower course of strings. So right now it says, okay, you're pretty close to E, but you're low. And there we are, right on the money. No, I'm going to stretch it a little, which is a good practice. And it says you're pretty close to on the money for E. Yep. So you see what's going on there? And now if I go for the B string, I'm a little bit out on the B. And it says you're low. I'm going to be low on all of these as I tuned it down. And there it is. I'm going to stretch it, do it again. Yeah, it's in there. Let's go for a low E. Okay, looks like I've gone a little sharp. And there I am. There's the A string. Bringing the A up. There we are. A is almost in there. Anyway, okay, so there's the low E and the A is in there. Well, looks like it's shaking a little bit, but it's in there. D, ooh, D needs to come up a little bit. I'll do that. G needs to come up a little bit. B is just about there. E is just about there. I calibrated it with my, if I do the same thing, the Fender says it's all in tune, the Fender vibrational. A is a little sharp. E is a little sharp. Anyway, let's see if it shows E a little sharp here. That shows it a little flat, if anything. A, it does show, it did bounce to the sharp for a second. So, D is saying flat. What's this saying? Says it's right on the money. This says it's a little flat. G, a little sharp. What's this say? It almost blinked sharp, didn't it? No, it says it's on the money. The B and the E are supposed to be right on the money. Okay, this thing will, I can see it'll be a little, it's got a, doesn't lock into the center very easily on any of the lower notes. But that's the tuning with a nice reverb setting. Something like that. Okay, so that's that one. Let's see what I have on number 2 then. It sounds really boxy and I don't like it, so I'm going to change that one up real quick just by, and I think it's the cab I don't like. Let's put on I remember that cab. That's the cab at 3 o'clock. It's pretty good. Nah, it's a little twang, it's funky. Let's go to the full on one. Boy, that's not a good. I have to wonder if there's a cab that's more reasonable. That's the 12 o'clock one, and if I turn off all the EQ, oh, let's just go for the different cabs. Everything else is off. Oops, looks like I gotta turn on anti-feedback. There it is. Okay, so I bring on anti-feedback, but I turn off everything else. Let's see, how do you set everything to flat? Well, I'm just going to set all the EQs at flat at 12 o'clock. Okay, so, I mean, I'd like it to sound a little better than that, and I can change, I might do some altering of my preamp. That's still not great. There we go. let me give an idea of, okay, so let's save that one as preset 2. Preset 1, I think sounds more natural. In preset mode, the only thing that you can adjust is the volume. I might have too much bass on here. I'm going to change that at my preamp level. Let's see. Right. So I have now I'm going to go for preset 3. Also needs some help. And this is the one where I'm going to show you what the modulation does. Okay, so I'm going to enter the edit mode. I'm going to turn off the cabinet simulation. I'm going to turn off the space by 12 o'clock. But I am going to, here's this, what I was saying, strange mod effect. That's it all the way, the knob turned all the way to the left. I don't know if that's supposed to be quick phase. It's not deep enough to be flanged. Is it a chorus? I don't think it's much of a chorus either. I think it's some kind of phase. I'm sure it tells us what it is in the book, but reading the directions, Anyway, so I'm going to go to modulation now. I'm still on the modulation, but I'm going to turn it past 12 o'clock, and this should be tremolo. It's not very deep. There it is. That's it at about 4 o'clock. This is at full on, which is only 5 o'clock. So it gets slower. Okay, so I'm going to save that preset in number 3. And I do that by holding the button, as I mentioned earlier. And then to get out of preset mode, I hit the right 2 buttons simultaneously. And there I am with that slow tremolo there. All in all, I think it's a pretty neat little box, but if you're using a K&K style vibrational under the saddle pickup, you're going to need an additional preamp. You're going to need a preamp, and because it's not built into your guitar. If your guitar has a battery and volume and tone and all of that, up in this area usually, that means you have your preamp. You can just get the Lekato baby, whatever, the Cube baby, and you're fine. So I did this video for my information because I forget how to use these things if I don't use them in a while. And so this is, I hope it helps other people too.